I did 4 games with live commentary and a 10-minute intro for this deck around 11 p.m. last night, and I went to sneeze during the video at some point, and I muted my mic, and from there on forward, everything was muted, so I figured we just start again this morning. It was a little disheartening, but here we go, man, and I won all my games yesterday, which was good. Now we're at a bit higher MMR. I finished the video around 2475, so you get a little more accurate depiction of how this will perform at a higher level, which is good. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking me for something that's easy to play, that's inexpensive to craft, that's strong and flexible, right? So this is actually what you're looking for. It costs 6,000 scraps to make. All the neutral cards like Oniromancy, Heatwave, Maxi, and Peller can be used in just about any deck in the game if you want. And a lot of the monster cards are recyclable, like Morvid can be used in a lot of things. There are a decent amount of uses for Morntart, Toad Princes in pretty much every monster control deck, and Riders are just a good thinning tool. The sort of niche options here would be like your Kashi or your Qcento and sort of Scoia'tael, but if it's only a few cards you have to craft just for one deck, that's not really that bad. I mean, Mana Dark Secrets as well, but call it 4. Now, the deck is super simple, right? Revolves around Force of Nature, Leader ability, order, spawn, and play a Woodland Spirit. I'm checking to see if I'm muted again. This ability adds 15 provisions to your deck's provision limit. So essentially it's a point slam at 9, it procs Thrive, it does nothing else. And you want to save it for a couple certain situations in the game that we'll talk about. And Thrive is very simple. It's a mechanic where if I play something that's a certain power that has Thrive, whenever I play something that's higher power, then the unit with Thrive will boost itself. And so what you want to do is you want to play out some 1s, then you want to play out some 2s, then you want to go for like 3s or 4s, and then you want to jump up, you know? So we generally curve it out like Necker, Indrigas, Drowners, Cursed, and then we just sort of slam, 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 slam kind of thing on top, and then everything just goes boost, boost, boost. It's pretty satisfying, man. Easy but satisfying. For a solitary deck, it's actually very, you know, rewarding. So anyways, the Mana Dark Secret. So it's a scenario that progresses whenever we play a Thrive unit. On the prologue, it spawns a Cursed Damsel on this row and boosts it by 2, which is this one here. So this card has Thrive, but on the order we can half own power and destroy an enemy unit with power up to the power removed from self. So if she's 9, she's taken down a 5. You know what I mean? If she's 6, she's taken down a 3. And it's not just damage it, it's destroy it. So if it has armor, it doesn't matter. Whatever the status, it doesn't matter. It just kills it. So it's a nice little control option for Thrive. And the best part is too, is if she's already seen her potential on Thrive and we half her power, then there's potential for her to come back and get more Thrive value. So she's really cool. We have 2 of them here, but 1 does come off this scenario. And Chapter 1, whenever you play a unit, if it would not trigger any of your Thrive units, boost it by 2 first. So what's going to happen is eventually we're going to plateau. We're not going to have anything to proc Thrive. And we're going to start playing 4s when we've got 4s down there and stuff like that. Like, for example, the Wild Hunt Riders. You know, they come down, but we also have these come down. But this is going and boosting that by 2 when we play it. So then it's still going to proc the Thrive, which is massive, right? So that's sort of a way to get more value out of the Thrive. And I find that this Chapter 1 is actually like the best part of the scenario. Obviously the prologue's good, the second's good for a thin, but Chapter 1's crazy. And Chapter 2, play the highest power bronze non-neutral unit from your deck. Remember, it says non-neutral, okay? So our target here is going to be the Necker Warrior coming down at 7 to proc Thrive and everything. It's going to be a nice little thin. So I recommend that if you have this in your hand in round 1, play it. It feels to me like it's a round 1 thing. Our round 1 is Mana Dark Secrets, get a little bit of a thinning down, get Maxi if we can. We go into round 2, then we get into my next strategy, which would be Kashi and Qcento. So with this card here, it has Thrive. Whenever this unit's Thrive is triggered, spawn a drone on this row. We don't want that. What we want is the Adrenaline. So you got to make sure you're playing this on Adrenaline. When this unit's Thrive is triggered, spawn an Indriga Larva on this row instead, which is this one. Why would you want a drone that does nothing if you can have a bug that does a lot. You know what I mean? So we have that. So how we sequence this out is we try to play round 1 into a nice long round, so that when we go into round 2, potentially winning on even. If we don't win on even, it's not the end of the world, because if we got these in hand, we push. If we don't, we reevaluate, right? So Qcento comes down at Adrenaline so that we can get the first Kashi on the board. I like to go and put Sir Scratch-a-Lot on the board before I even get to playing the Adrenaline stuff. Like, if I have an opener turn, it speeds things up to just float this on the board if you're not expecting a Curse of Corruption, a Serpent Trap, a Riptide. If you could play around those things, then just float this, because it has immunity when you play it. And then basically get this down, get the second Kashi down, which will proc the Thrive on the first Kashi. Then when you have a bunch of fruits on the board, I say fruits because I'm so used to Yizgith this season, but whenever you have a bunch of larvae on the board, then you just go and you play the Sir Scratch-a-Lot. So with this one here, basically we're going to be able to redeploy itself, boost itself by 2, so it's going to come down at 6, next turn 8, then 10, then 12, and you can see how crazy that gets for this deck, because it's a constant Thrive engine, just boom, boom, boom. And what's nice here too is that units played on your opponent's side can trigger your Thrive abilities. So when we go into a bleed in a round 2, everything's being spent from us. They're trying to catch up. They're like, oh my god, they start putting out big units. It's going to proc our Thrive. That's the problem. So they have to remove the Scratch-a-Lot. They have to pivot and remove this card, which then lets this card stick and the copy of it stick. And if we're able to get down the Scratch-a-Lot, on that first Scratch-a-Lot turn, I tend to like to take Leader there. So I'll take Leader so that we can get as many larvae as possible, and then the next turn, we do it again, and then we do it again, and we do it again, and we can put up like 100 points in like a 6-card round if we really have everything that we need, which is crazy, but we don't have to 2-0. If the 2-0 is not possible, get out with enough space to maintain last say, because then that sort of pivots to our next strategy. We have Morntart. So deploy banish all units in your graveyard, then boost self by 1 for each. Now the more procs we get from the Kashi, the better, right? The more stuff we spawn, the absolute better. Unfortunately, this token's doomed, so it doesn't contribute to that, but it's not the end of the world. If you really wanted to and you didn't have anything else you had to purify, you could take Pelor off your token, but I generally recommend saving Pelor for getting around their defender, or making sure that the Kashi or the Scratch-a-Lot is purified if it gets in trouble. That's all. So we go into a round 3, we have Morntart, we play this, we banish all the units in graveyard, boost self by 1 for each. If we don't get Kashi and we don't get Scenario for whatever reason, then Morntart becomes bad. But generally speaking, if we get one, we're more inclined to get the other because the thin, so it all kind of works out fairly well. And Maxi's going to be a good way at deciding whether or not we do get, you know, what we're looking for, right? It's kind of looking at the deck from top to bottom. We could shuffle it if we don't like what we see, kind of thing. So yeah. And then so this comes down for anywhere between, I've had my worst Morntart probably at 11 points. My best Morntart was probably 26. I think what we're aiming for is early 20s. Anything 20 plus is really good. Honestly, anything like 17 plus is actually very good to me. I mean, it's only a 10 provision card, so it's not like it's a 12p, right? So we have that there. Riptide for a bit of control and a Thrive proc. Controversial card for monsters, but it does what it has to do. It can play into immunity, which is crazy. So if you're going against Ada Siege, you can take out Ada with this without even having to target it, which is massive. A little bit more control, get rid of an engine, Toad Prince, but it also thrives everything else, and pretty sweet. One more card I want to sort of highlight here. I do have a movement tech, and, you know, get rid of anything that's like row-locked. But Mantrap is crazy in this deck. So we generally don't do the infusion on ranged. We generally play them on melee, because deploy melee, consume an allied unit. This unit triggers Thrive an additional time. So if I have a whole board full of the larva and I play, let's say, this off my leader or off a Maxi or off a Necker Warrior or Rider, whatever generally you're not consuming something that has Thrive. It takes away from the assembly line. But if we're doing that, it's going to proc Thrive 2 times. So that could be like a 40-point turn off a 4 provision card, depending on the board state, right? So take all that in mind. But here you go, man. Surprisingly, for a solitaire deck, it's fun, right? So I actually might continue playing this myself. It's just you turn thinking off a little bit, you throw some cards down, you watch things happen, and you know, it requires skill too. You have to know your opponents, just like any other deck. But this one here felt like one of the easier ones for me to climb this patch. So hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And in this video, I got 4 games with live commentary for reference, 4 or 5. And yeah, I'll see you guys shortly in the next one. Alright, first up here we have Precision Strike. Okay, we have Scenario, which is cool. We could play the Neckers off that. And then take Riders. We have this. I think we can go for something else. Seeing Kashi's okay. This can go back. That's a pretty good round, man. I like to start right into Scenario if I'm going on blue. It's a matter of if they have a heat wave or not, because that would be bad for me. Right, because the heat wave makes it so that these have a hard time staying. What's nice is that Drowner takes care of a Skirmisher. You could argue that that's important to kill. I wonder if I just half it here. Maybe. I don't really want to boost that though. I mean, there's no armor on the damn thing, but... It's gotta be my Drowner, unless they just go for it. I can outpoint this deck, so I'm not really that worried about that part, you know what I mean? It's just about, I don't necessarily want to lose on even either and get bled Kashi. I'd rather bleed with Kashi. Okay, so they're just playing the actual mid-range dwarfs list, probably. They're getting way too much value for this. I think I'm just gonna go take these and then see where we're at. Really? You can use Garrison for 1 point. They probably crank full leader here.
Can dwarves fight? The fish pissing lakes.
It's not a bad clash, though. I was thinking about passing, but now I'm just kind of like, alright, we could take out the Zoltan. Well, now it's not the right Zoltan. That's fine. Hopefully they hit some armor off the left side one. COC. So we were never gonna get it. At least the location's used, because this plays for too many points. Unless they have a one-off Duinviandra, and that's what they want to do. I guess Orchid's not even a pass card. Except they never pass, so... Just gotta start off small. I might actually have to take the Riptide soon, even if it's not a great target, just because I think if they have Simlas into double armors, then we're never gonna get a good one. It's already getting worse, right? It's an early Barclay. I guess they don't have Villa in hand. I don't think I'm splitting her to kill. I think we just wait a second. Because I can snag a token. Well, I can still snag a token, but I can snag something better. That's it, I guess. So they have a brick in hand and they're still going? Even if Toad Prince eats a 2, he's still thriving. I have to take it like this, unfortunately. Do they have Tesham or Hengate or Heatwave? There's that too. I mean, you kind of forced me to do this, bro. I didn't want to. Oh yeah. Then we save Morvid. It's lights out, man. We save Morvid, we save Morntart. It's a matter of drawing Morntart, though. We probably won't watch. Whatever. That's fine, honestly. Look, if I win off not having Morntart and Heatwave with 23 cards in my grave, that says something, right? I don't know what's left. There's 8, 8, 6, 8, 7, 9, 13, 6, 9. Sophila. One of them's gonna live. I think we kill her. Yeah, that's a little late for that. Okay. So they drew everything and we didn't. So I'm missing 24 points. Next up here we have Imperial formation. We go first. Okay, I could take my Finn. I desperately need scenario here though. I gotta put one of these back for later. That's not terrible, man.
History shall remember the art of Fiend. We go where the Empire has not yet reached.
That's annoying. We pivot towards playing for the Thin, but I think I still go Larva here if I can. Operator into what now? Oh, okay. I get where this is going. I just don't want them to have a bunch of illusionists into my Thrive round and we can't stick anything. That's fine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to TA the Toad, and we'll take the Riders. This guy's going so hard. Yay.
I shall do as you command.
I can't really defend that, you know? So Riptide's going to be important. I need scenario here. Everything's in the bottom of the deck, apparently.
We go where the Empire has not yet reached.
10 and 3, we actually can't even kill it. The biggest problem would be these. These would be really annoying for me. And they have another one. Another 2.
We conquered Qcento. These Nordling scum are no better.
That's just gonna happen sometimes, man.
Power of Nilfgaard.
We got Pincer maneuver coming up here next.
I fancy today.
Probably out of siege. And I'm on red, and I have a lot of my stuff. I could do the whole scenario thing early. I don't want to brick riders, but I want to see through the deck here.
To the dungeon with it.
It's actually a pretty good Riptide. Because it disables them from, you know, getting another one, getting all their cards when they want their cards. This deck doesn't have a lot of tutor stuff, so... It just sucks because by going in this way, I'm not able to do a lot of the things that I want to do. They boost that when they should have boosted the other one. If that sticks, then these never stick, essentially, so... I'm going to take the riders, and then, depending on how they go, I might have to play scenario next. Kimball.
Keep to it. Present arms.
I have to choose one. I think we're choosing scenario.
Come closer.
So they go for the draw ground, potentially. Or they just pass here. I wouldn't want to, though. Once I'm Kimbolt deep,
It's all for me, grog. Me knocking, grog.
they're getting a lot of value here.
Can't be battles. Hungry like a wolf, I am.
So they got 6 points of orders. Well, 7. They could have put me beside the guard. We like short rounds, so I'm going to play a bit more here. And this deck is known to have Bloody Barons, so we have to be careful about that too. That might be my pass, though. Oh, for sure. But they might have to discard. Which was what? Okay. So they're going to get 18 points on whatever happens here. That's where we leave. So now we just have to worry about Siege and the Ballista and Ada and Botchling. This is probably my throwaway. Actually, this is worse if you have to think about like this point of the round. I'm missing too much though, so I guess, and then we go for Kitty if we need to. Yeah, you're just gonna send it on me, aren't you? What's that worth? 3? There's really not a lot we can do here. I can take Qcento, but then it all dies. Let's try. Because that hits for 3. If I can keep this one going now. Just more stuff, and then this thrives those ones, and then I think I'm putting down Kitty first, though. Yeah, we should just defend here, and we should just have more points in a short round 3. Okay, so Peller has to go. The larva's good, but I need more of it. I guess we just have to make do.
What is it I fancy today? Scarlet dress, scarlet hands.
Like, we're missing... We thinned out well, too. Yeah, between that and Botchling, it's gonna run away from me, isn't it? Oh yeah, and they get everything boosted to 7. If you had Botchling though, you'd play it first. Really? I honestly think it's going to be Baron plus a flip. Drog plus flip. Okay. So we win without one of our win cons. Pretty good. Alright, next up here we have Nilfgaard Imposter, and I think that going second is probably one of the few things that can really save me here. Let's put this back for later. 1, 2. I have all my thrives to proc this scenario, but they're not like the ideal thrives here, so maybe this one goes back for now. Seeing Kashi's okay, but... I don't know if that's my heat wave or not. There's a lot that I want to heat wave, but this plays into Dames, which wins the round. You know what I mean?
Don't ask a lady her age. It's unbecoming.
Alright, let's see your scenario then.
Beaters, forward! Let the hunt begin.
I could just pile drive it here and save the Purify for like a Kashi. I think I'm supposed to do it that way.
Let us put an end to this nonsense, this farce.
He's not row locked anymore, which sucks for me. That's alright, man. Let's just push it. For every card they doom, they're taken away from the Morntart. I just don't know if they're thinking that far, though. That's a pretty good Purify, though.
Fighting spirit, what needs you to keep this world ever free?
So I haven't done this in the past. I'm just trying to think about how I can curve out the riders.
The kitchen presents its finest yet.
Should I just take Riptide on the 10? Yeah. So they got rid of the Hunter and the Philip. Philip in a long round would be scary. The fact that we saw it now is very good for me. I can go with Riders just for something to do. The hand is pretty good, man. What we'll do is we'll take Qcento first, and then we'll take Maxi. Honestly, I don't think we care. I think we're still playing here.
There is but one punishment for traitors.
I feel like they're gonna wish they kept that lock. Let's see if we can get leader out of the way with Qcento. you'd want to. You can't coup it. Literally nothing yet. Okay. I'm just gonna play the cat. We gotta go for a little more aggro push here. Having an Orchard would be really good. I feel like it's Orchard. Who knows anymore? Okay, one of them stays.
You can run, you can hide, but I'm
1,
gonna
2,
get
3. So we would actually miss it otherwise. But now there's a chance.
A taste of Nordling, is it?
If it's coup, they can't coup if I fill the board. Well, actually they could still, but I think it's still the move to do, man. Yeah, Usurper in short round 3 is kind of annoying.
Follow me.
Putting a lot of faith in the draw here, man. Nice. Thank you. I knew we shuffled it, so I figured we'd do okay. So they break doggos.
All gentlemen have their vices.
There we go. Just kind of scented in that one.